Hi, this is Dan Worth here for The Inquirer. We're here reviewing the Xperia X8 from Sony Ericsson. Now, one of the unique things, the unique thing about the Xperia X8 is it comes with this live view watch, which allows you to receive information such as text messages, tweets, updates, and tells you when a phone call is coming in on this little watch. So as you can see, it's got a sort of pretty basic interface here. It's not the nicest thing to look at. It looks like a pretty basic old watch. So first off, I don't think necessarily you're really going to want to wear this on your wrist, other than for the sort of unique technological capabilities it has. So as you can see, it gives you a list of all events, and then you can scroll, see text messages, Twitter. You can locate the phone, and you can actually access your various feeds. As you can see here, the scroll, it's not a very responsive touchscreen, which makes it quite irritating to use. And it can often sort of freeze, and you have to wait, and then it suddenly catches up and will rush backwards and forwards over and over again. But it does work, and we did sort of manage to view some messages in it, which if it will move to the message function, I will show you those. As you can see, having the same problem, it's jumping around. Nearly there. Right. So you click on the button, the two little buttons at the top, and that will open. So that's a text message saying, "Hello, this is a test. Just we're testing it out." But it came up on the phone, and I was on the watch, sorry, and I was able to read it there without having to even sort of touch the phone, which is quite a unique and innovative thing to add to a phone, and sort of seems to suggest something that manufacturers may well look at. Is this sort of innovative new ways of making a mobile phone more than just a mobile phone, adding something extra to it. But there are some teething problems to this. As I said, it looks pretty basic and a bit bland. It's not easy to use. As you saw, I had some problems scrolling around waiting for it to load up. And I mean, if you get a phone call coming in, it will tell you you've got a phone call, and then you have to pick up the phone out of your pocket anyway. And it seems sort of what's the point in that? But I think you have to give Sony Ericsson some credit for creating something a bit different, giving it a go. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the future something like this, like a smaller form factor as a secondary device to your mobile phone, something that sort of becomes more widely used, but perhaps not right now with this device here. The phone itself, again, as you can see, a bit like the watch, it's a bit basic looking. The screen is 3-inch capacitive touchscreen, but it looks a bit small set within this quite bulky case. It's actually quite a light phone. It only weighs 64 grams, I believe, and as you can see, it's quite chunky. Again, for most smartphones now are a lot thinner. Now on starting the device, you can see it runs Android 2.1, which is an upgrade from when it originally shipped with 1.6, and it's pretty, again, like most Android phones, it's pretty straightforward to use, and it has all the same functions and features as you'd expect. So there you can sort of get a live sort of Twitter feed and things like that on the phone, usual specs like that. Now, obviously, you get all the widgets and apps, as you would. A lot come pre-installed, so Google Latitude, and navigation, which is good, and Facebook, Google Mail, all those sort of things. Now it's powered by a 600 megahertz processor, which is okay, and it works. But again, a bit like the watch, you can have an occasion where you sort of scroll and you have to wait, and there's a bit of a lag, and that can just be a bit irritating. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. It just gets a bit frustrating, but it's not a major hardship. And the navigation of the phone, I think, is somewhat confusing or not straightforward. And you have this home screen here where you have your sort of phone directory, your keypad, your music, and your messages. And then you can scroll left to get the time, a search bar, and like Twitter updates there. But then to get to the apps, you sort of scroll down and then across again. So it seems like a double layer of front screens, and it's up to you where you want to go to find the one, which just seems a little bit odd, whereas you normally expect it to be all on one screen, and then you'd open up the apps. But it does work, and you'd probably get used to it very quickly if you actually own the phone. It also has a 3.2 megapixel camera on the back, which is good and takes good quality photos. We tried that out, and they're pretty good quality. And the resolution of 320 times 480 is perfectly adequate. Looks quite sharp, and the photos shot well, and apps ran and looked quite nice. It wasn't too pixely. You've got 128 megabytes of standard memory in the phone, which is pretty low and not great. So it's very likely you want to put an SD card in, but it has capacity to go up to 16 gigabyte, which is very impressive, and should no doubt, even just 2 gig or 4 gig card will certainly cover, I'd imagine, your cover amount of data you want to store on the phone. So overall, the Sony Ericsson Xperia X8 is a sort of a middling phone in the smartphone market. It's certainly not going to compete with a lot of things out there. It's probably better than a few others, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are other Android devices out there that perhaps a little bit more swish to look at and to use than this in the market. But certainly with the Live View watch, it's something interesting and a bit different in the market. And so that's the Sony Ericsson Xperia X8.